What's up, guys? This is going to be a video for the 1K tournament that happened at Magic and Monsters. I attended this event and I actually brought my own deck to actually play in the event because 2024 is the year that I'm actually going to play in more events as opposed to just witnessing and judging, which I normally do. So anyways, Magic and Monsters had a 1K event. It wasn't any cash prizing, so for those of you guys who are wondering, it is not cash prizing. It was actually prizing that was worth 1K. So if we look at here on the next segment of this video, as you can see here, they had a Caius, the Ultimate Shadow Monarch, the Ultimate Shadow Monarch, and then we also had Greffer, Necro Gardener, and Dark Creator for second place. Third place got Foolish Burial, Super, and then fourth place got an Ultimate Rare Unlimited Edition Red Dragon Archfiend. So these were the prizings for the event, and they were the players who were able to get these on the day of, so they were able to get their prizing as they attended the event. So let's go into the top 8 deck list for this particular event. So in 8th place here, we have a player by the name of Oscar Ruano, a very SoCal expert of Diva Heroes, who decided to play a different deck on 2024, as it's going to be his New Year's resolution to be not one trick pony, and decided to play a Vayu Turbo list. So he decided to take a Vayu Turbo list, pretty more conservative strategy, utilizing cards like Super Nimble Mega Hamster at 3, and also playing 3 Raikou as well. Not going for like a turbo strategy, but more of a control strategy to be able to destroy all of your opponent's back row, and the payoff being value, of course, to be able to dish out all of the Arm Wings out of your deck, as well as the Armor Master, to be able to play a really good grind game. And that's kind of the plan that Oscar Ruano was trying to go for. He is on triple Greffer as well as 1 Armageddon Knight. Sometimes it's a 2-2 split. Sometimes it's a 1-3 split. It just depends on the player preference, I guess. But in Oscar Ruano's opinion, it seems to be a 3-1 split in today's particular format. He also plays the 1 card trooper to help him mill more cards. Not much to say about a standard value list. He does not play the Chaos Sorcerer in this particular deck list because he is playing a more grinder strategy using Raikous and Hamsters as opposed to trying putting a lot more power cards into the mix. His spell lineup is going to be pretty standardized. Not much else to say about this spell lineup. 1 MST, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Burial because it's a broken card. There's no reason why you shouldn't be playing this card. Should not be playing this card because in Vayu Turbo you can put a lot of pressure using this card. And then we have the 2 bottomless, which is the Edison standard. He is on 1 compulsory in the main deck, as well as the oppression, only 1 oppression in the main deck and 1 in the side deck for his little game plan here. And then we have the 2 Deep Prisons in the main deck, 1 Dust Shoot, of course, because Dust Shoot is a really good card. I'm actually going to be back on Team Dust Shoot for the main deck, especially for Edison format, because stun is not a thing in Edison format. So not a lot of people are going to be setting a lot of back row just because of Heavy Storm's existence, and also stun not being a good deck in the format. So that's just how it's going to be. He is on the 1 Icarus here, so it looks like he was trying out a list where Icarus attack was in the main deck, so he was able to utilize this card to get a 2-for-1 exchange in some scenarios. It just depends on how it's going to be. And then we have the 1 Solemn Judgment as well. So 41 cards, that's his kind of his special number. He loves 41. So you'll expect to see Oscar being playing 41 cards in his main deck going forward. Just depends on the list, I think. So, but yeah, 41 is his number. Then we have 2 Cyber Dragon in the side deck, 2 Falso Dynas to hit all the Battle Faders, the Gores, and the Tragodia. We have the 1 DD Crow, I think it's for the mirror match, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, or maybe even Zombies. Zombie has make a lot of resurgence in 2024, which is kind of funny because all of 2023 we were only seeing very bits and pieces of zombies being played, but now with the advent of instant fusion zombies being able to be more explosive rather than just being passive, we can start to see cards, people main decking DD Crow and Kaiku in the main deck to be able to stop Mizukis from banishing from the graveyard, and also being able to hit the graveyard is another strategy they want to do. Hitting the Plague Spreader zombie in the zombie matchup is a really good strategy because once you hit the Plague Spreader zombie, they can't really make good synchro plays, so they're going to have to rely on cards to get back the Plague Spreader zombie from the banish area. I imagine if zombies ever gets popular, they would have to start side decking or main decking cards like Escape from the Dark Dimension to be able to get the Plague Spreader zombie from the banished area in order to do a synchro play. But as of now, nobody is actually prepared for zombies, so only very few people side deck cards for it. And then Oscar Ruano actually predicted that these cards will be good in the mirror match as well as the zombie matchup. He has the 2 Deck Devastation Virus. You'll start to see these cards be more sided when Black Wings are in the meta. because when zombies come back, they tend to utilize lots of monsters underneath the 15k stat line for the attack power, and so Deck Devastation Virus is going to be used by Blackwings to be able to kill every monster on the board as well as the hand as well for 3 turns. So we also have a Lightning Vortex. I believe he cited this card from what I saw in the gameplay against Frogs, because Frogs is now coming back in Frog Heroes especially. Hero Frogs was literally everywhere in this tournament, as well as the Collectibles Exchange 3v3 tournament. It was pretty much the most represented deck, thanks to, I think Fraser Smith invented the deck. I'm not entirely sure if it was him, but I'm pretty sure it was him because he popularized it in the Nationals format for Edison. So main decking the Lightning Vortex was simply just to out the Dupe Frog, because in the main deck there's really very few outs to that, especially for, except for Raikou. But if you're saying a Raikou, they're probably going to Kaius away in the monster. So he needs an immediate answer to the Dupe Frog lock. And then he sides on Oppression here. I imagine he's going to side this for the Hero Frogs, because they do use a lot of special summonings in that deck, because they use Miracle Fusions. They use cards like Junk Synchron to be able to make Synchro plays. They have Battle Fader, you name it. So the Oppression there is to be able to punish the Hero Frog players. I imagine this is also used for Gladiator Beast, but I don't think Gladiator Beast is going to be seen in the future metas, even though Frogs is going to be everywhere, Hero Frogs in particular, and Zombies. Also seeing a more prevalence of Amaryllis Burn too. Those decks are usually weak to Gladiator Beasts, but I believe Gladiator Beast is one of those decks that lose to Blackwings very consistently, losing to Hero Beat consistently. So you can expect that Gladiator Beast will still be a very meta-dependent deck, as I postulated that it would be. 3 Dust Tornadoes in the side deck. Why not? Because you have Dust Tornado. MST is only at 1 in this format. Might as well just play the max out on the Dust Tornadoes to hit any floodgates that might happen against the Value Turbo deck. If Gravekeepers ever makes a resurgence, he can definitely side the Dust Tornadoes in to hit the Necro Valley, so he can play the game. 2, Pulling the Rug, because it's a staple against the Frog matchup. But Frogs have adapted to playing against Pulling the Rug, because they can just go into Unifrog, and then Unifrog being able to attack directly and pop the Pulling the Rug is the idea in order to play around the side decks game 2 and 3 Pulling the Rugs. And then we have a pretty much standard extra deck here. 1 Chimera Tech is probably not the standard thing, just because Machinas aren't really seeing played that much. But yeah, so that's congratulations to Mr. Oscar Ruano, our Diva Hero Specialist, who is playing Vayu. We're going to go on to the 7th place deck profile here. In 7th place, we had a player by the name of Matthew Nguyen, who played a Blackwing deck. This Blackwing deck is pretty standardized, except what I don't see is Book of Moon. So he's not on Book of Moon, and he's also on 1 Cyber Dragon in the main deck to be able to Contact Fusion, I believe, against the Machina decks. So I guess Blackwings does have a really difficult time beating against Machina gadgets, because they have cards like Smashing Ground to be able to punish the birds in attack position so that the Icarus attack are dead. So main decking a Cyber Dragon is kind of good against those Machina matchups, but also being able to force out Bottomless so that you can normal summon your Shurs with the Whirlwind and do a search. He also main decks the Deck Devastation Virus because Zombies is coming back in the format, as well as Frogs, to be able to hit the Battle Fader, Junk Synchron, all the Frog decks, pretty much. So Frogs is coming back, so it makes sense that he is on the main deck Devastation Virus. Weirdly enough, he is only on 1 D prison, so all the attack declaration stuff is going to be met with the Kalut as opposed to a D prison and a Mirror Force. So you're going to expect that to happen. Kalut is going to be the card that Blackwing is going to be used on attack declaration and damage step, so that they can protect their birds from being destroyed by battle. We also have the 1 main deck Royal Oppression, and the 1 and the side deck as a standard Blackwing decks are able to do in 2024. To be able to lock out special summoning, but not too much to where it doesn't do anything for you. No main deck Starlight Road, because Starlight Road is kind of bad against main deck oppression, because when you have your own oppression used against you for Starlight Road, it feels really bad, and then all your back rows are destroyed as a result. Main deck does shoot, etc. The enemy controller is interesting, but what you can do with enemy controller is normal summon the Blizzard here, special summon any bird, take their monster with enemy controller by distributing off your bird or your tuner, depending on what you're stealing, and then make a synchro play. Yeah, so not much to say about this one. I guess the 2 Vayu in the main deck is kind of interesting, but it is the pure Blackwing, so they do play the 2 main deck Vayus as opposed to 3 or 1. Side deck, he has the 1 Cyber Dragon in case he really sees the Machina Fortress, the Machina deck. The 2 DD Crows, because you can hit Frogs and Heroes, Hero Beat, stopping the Hero Blast from resolving. We have the one Fossil Dyna for the Battle Faders and Gores and Tragodia, as well as any decks that special summons Treeborn Frog willy-nilly. We have the Grand Mole here to be able to hit set cards because Black Wings don't really like monsters that set, such as Snowman Eater. People side deck Snowman Eaters to stop the sure attack from attacking over it, so why not just summon a Grand Mole and bounce it back to your hand? Then we have the two Snowman Eaters. I think that's for Hero Beat. Hero Beat did not see much representation in this tournament, unfortunately. I guess Hero Beat is just not going to be a good deck going forward, just because it is one of those decks that relies on power cards, and sometimes you just don't see any monsters, and all you see is Gemini Sparks and Hero Blast. So I can see that being a very difficult time for the Hero Beat player in today's Edison format. Then we have the one My Body's a Shield. I think he sized this for, I can't see why he went on side this, maybe against Bottomless Trap Hole, but every deck kind of main decks Bottomless Trap Hole except for Frogs. So I guess in case he's playing a deck that actually has back row, My Body's a Shield can stop that. I'm not entirely sure why he would want to side that else for any other reason. And then we have the knock here because Raikou is another issue of this deck, because when you want to normal summon your bird and then it attacks into a face down high defense monster or a Raikou or a hamster, then it becomes kind of an issue because you have to waste your Kalut on that declaration of attack, which is why he also main decks the Grand Mole. So he's very methodical in his side deck plan as well as his main deck plan to be able to stop the Machina Gadgets from stealing wins against them. Then one compulsory, I think this is for the Value Turbo matchup to be able to bounce back the Arm Wing so that he could not have to worry about the second value, getting the value that in the graveyard to banish the Arm Wing that's destroyed in the graveyard, and the second value to be able to go to the Armor Master. So this kind of effectively shuts off the lineup where that occurs. One Dust Tornado, not anymore, so it looks like he's only on one MST and one Dust Tornado, which is fine. Pure Black Wings can abuse the fact that they can use Icarus Attack to clear out back row, so it's not a staple to play the Dust Tornado at 2 or 3 even. Went Light Imprinting Mirror for the Fairy matchup as well as the Lightsworn matchup. Lightsworn is not as popular, so he did expect the one player who does play Lightsworn to show up at the event. He did show up, but he didn't do so well. For those of you who are wondering, his name is Min Zhang. And then we had the two pulling the rug here in the side deck because it's a staple against the Monarchs. But I think going forward, I think pulling the rug might not see as much play just because of the Unifrog in the main deck. Then we have the one side deck Oppression. Not too much to say about that. And then the extra deck is pretty standard. It's an Edison, pretty much an Edison extra deck, excluding the fact that he's playing Arm Wing and Armor Master and Silverwind. Yeah. So congratulations to Matthew Nguyen on to the 6th place winning. In 6th place here, we have a player by the name of Daniel Liu, who actually won the event. This is his innovative Frog Hero deck or Hero Frog deck. So I have a deck profile of him. He took the exact same list that he took for the 3v3. So if you guys want to watch that and his in-depth explanation, I advise you to click out of this video and then go on the 3v3 first place deck profile. Go in the description below and click on his timestamp where I have his deck profile. It's going to be a 3-for-1 deck profile. So if you don't want to watch Fitz's deck profile or you don't want to watch ×2 deck profile, you can watch specifically 10FD, that's his name, 10FD's deck profile, and then he'll go into the card choices as to why he's choosing this. But for now, I'll skip out on this, but congratulations to first place, who this guy actually won first place at this event and first place at the 3v3, so this guy swept all weekend, and that's all I'll add to that. If you guys want to watch him on he's probably going to do a deck profile on his own channel. So check out the tag description for his channel, and then click on that if you guys want to see his deck profile in depth, aside from my 3v3 deck profile. And then in 5th place, we have a player by the name of Toy Nguyen. He actually topped the rare and sleeveless PS5 event. I think he got second, I believe, in the top cut, playing against the Izzy Barrera. But anyways, Tony Nguyen took his pretty much the Diva Hero list. He's the only one on Diva Heroes for the tournament, and he was able to get 5th place for this event. And so we see a very standardized 41 cards in his main deck, much like Oscar Wano. Oscar Wano does play the Snowman Eater in the main deck, but there is no Snowman Eater in the main deck for this particular list. But not much to say. The trap line is pretty standardized. The Wing Blast, being able to bounce back cards and discarding the Malicious to make all your power plays and do the Armory Arm OTK combo with the Colossal Fighter, the 3 Absolute Zero and the Gaia. So it looks like Absolute Zero was dominating in this top 8 finish. So you can expect that. He is on the one gold sarcophagus in the main deck. Not sure if he likes that card very much. It is a wild card, but it takes 2 cards for the wild card to come to your hand. So that's kind of the issue with gold sarcophagus. You can top deck it, but at least he has a wing blast to discard the gold sarcophagus in the event that he draws the gold sarcophagus too late in the game, where it's too late to win the game. But yeah, not much to say. He does have the main deck, the Spirit Reaper, and then he has the side deck Sirocco for the Arm Wing matchup, or the Black Wing matchups, including Viejo Turbo. The one DD Crow for Frogs, I believe. No, not Frogs, against zombies. Frogs is really hard to side deck the DD Crow because they do have Treeborn Frog, and a good Frog player will only put one Treeborn Frog at a time in the graveyard. Without having it be susceptible to soul release. So if in the event that they do have the DD Crow, they would do that. But soul release punishes frog players who put 2 Treeborn Frog in the graveyard, which he also has a soul release as well. This is also for Lightsworns and the Fairy as well, to be able to disrupt the graveyard so that JD doesn't come out, and as well as Christia. So he also has the 2 Falsadina. I think it's a staple side deck in my opinion for a lot of different decks because you can stop Battle Fader, Dragon Gores, as well as Treeborn Frog. We also have the Snowmander too because Oscar Ruano pretty much revolutionized playing Snowmander in your Diva hero list, and so this is an homage to his deck list. We also have a Lightning Vortex in the main deck because it's very difficult to get rid of the Dupe Frog lock, as well as Christia, as well as any floodgate monsters such as Vanity's Fiend. So being able to have a main deck Lightning Vortex to deal with those situations is key to getting it past that. Although he does play the main deck Caius as well, and being able to access the Sacred Line such as Dark End, I imagine Dew Frog is not too much of a big problem for this particular deck. But I guess the Lightning Vortex is mainly for the Vanity's Fiend. Maybe Smashing Ground would be a better side deck as you don't have to pitch a card. But Lightning Vortex does do something for the Diva Hero matchup, being able to discard cards like Destiny Hero Malicious out of your hand. But for the Viejo Turbo players, they can discard cards like Viejo or Sirocco to the graveyard and then proc their abilities in the graveyard. Okay, the rest of the side deck is going to be 1 Super Poly to be able to punish the mirror match, to be able to pretty much take out the Absolute Zero as well. We have the Nobleman Cross out in the side deck, although I don't think you need a Nobleman Cross out in this particular deck just because you have Mind Control and you have Synchro Place. Then you had the 2 Dust Tornadoes because you can pretty much hit back row. This deck has only Wing Blast and MST to deal with back row, as well as Heavy Storm and Solemn Judgment. So these are extra spell and trap hate in case he plays against stun matchups. Then we have the 2 Pulling the Rug because of the Caius, the Shadow Monarch in the main decks. Okay, and then the extra deck, pretty standardized. Not much to explain about the side deck for Diva Heroes. Congratulations again to 5th place to Tony Nguyen for taking out Magic and Monsters. And 4th place, we have a player by the name of Jose Padia, who decided to take his own variation of Frog Heroes. His variation plays the Dandelion in the main deck. Dandelion is really cool because you can use Future Fusion to reveal the Gaia from the extra deck, and then send himself as long with the hero monster. And then by having the 2 Dandelions on the field, tokens on the field, you can then normal summon the Substitute, tribute both the tokens to be able to make a dupe block, the ultimate dupe block, because when you have both the Substitute in attack position as well as 2 dupe frogs, then you have the ultimate lock where the dupe blocks can't be destroyed by battle at all. So they had to get rid of 2 frogs in order to get to their opponent's life points. So that's kind of the idea behind it. That's why they play. He plays the Dandelion in the main deck. Then we have the Prodigy. The Malicious Edge to pierce over tokens and battle faders. So that's a key aspect of Malicious Edge. Frog Heroes. What else can we say? It's a pretty standardized list now. Soul Exchange has seen its way in the main deck because you can Soul Exchange away a monster going second, and then being able to tribute off monsters with Substitute or Caius, depending on the situation. But most likely you're going to be using Soul Exchange with the Substitute to make a Dupe Frog lock, a soft one with only 1 Dupe Frog. That's all there is to say about the main deck. He also has a breaker in the main deck to be able to hit cards like Pulling the Rug, so that he can normal summon his Caiuses safely. He has the 1 Cyber Dragon, not much else after that 1 Cyber Dragon to be able to beat over the Hero Beat matchup. 1 Jinzo. Jinzo is actually the only tech that he plays that is different from the other Frog Hero players. The Jinzo is actually interesting because a lot of people who are on Frog Heroes are now on the main deck Raigeki Break. Raigeki Break wasn't seen too much, I would say. So being able to bring out a Jinzo, for those of you guys who don't know why Jinzo is good over Decree, is because 1, it's a monster that he can summon, and you don't have to worry about it blocking your Treeborn Frog from coming out. And two is that Jinzo says that trap cards cannot be activated, and that's a key difference between that and Decree. Since trap cards cannot be activated in the Frog mirror match, if you were to bring out Jinzo, they can't use their Regeki breaks or their trap cards, and so it stays there into the back row. And because it stays there in the back row, they can't bring out their Treeborn Frog. So that's kind of the idea. Jinzo becomes kind of like an anti-Regeki break card, but also an anti-Treeborn Frog hater. So because he's out there, Treeborn Frog can't come out because your opponent locked themselves out by sending a trap card against Jinzo. Then he has the Kaiku here to play against the Frog Hero matchup, as well to be able to stop Miracle Fusion from resolving. I imagine Kaiku is going to be seeing more play in people's side decks just because of Miracle Fusion, as well as zombies, and as well as Treeborn Frog. So those three cards are what Kaiku tries to target. I imagine that he's going to be seeing more side deck as opposed to pulling the rug. Then we have the Mobius, the Frost Monarch. I don't know exactly why he side decks Frost Monarch. Maybe because he wants to hit Regeki breaks as well as another trap card. But I'm not entirely sure why he plays the Mobius. Two Vanity's Fiend here. The Vanity's Fiend is going to be able to lock out special summons against the mirror match to stop Battle Faders from coming down, as well as Gores and Tragodia as well. This also stops the Miracle Fusion, so they have to find their main deck outs or their side deck outs to be able to out this guy. One Soul Exchange, because if you are facing down the mirror match, you want to be able to Soul Exchange the monster, tribute for Vanity's Fiend, and then pretty much win the game from there. Two Super Polys, because Super Poly is really good at dealing with Absolute Zero. During the standby phase, you can bring out the Treeborn Frog, activate the Super Poly, and fuse away your Treeborn Frog and their Absolute Zero. Absolute Zero will die because their Absolute Zero will destroy your Absolute Zero. And then it's because it's still the standby phase, you can technically just bring out this Treeborn Frog again, and it's as if the Treeborn Frog really never left the field. And they can use that tribute summon for a Vanity's Fiend after that. We have the two compulsory here. I believe this is for Value Turbo, but I believe this is also for the Frog Hero matchups to be able to bounce away at Absolute Zero without committing too much resources on the playing field. And then we have the one Dust Tornado. I guess that because there's a two Regeki Break in the main deck, as well as an MST and a Heavy Storm. These cards are able to hit more Spell and Traps, but you don't really need it as much since you are playing. He's also on the main deck Mobius. One Torrential Tribute, I guess this is also for the mirror match because of the Dew Frog lock, so that's also really good because of that. Because once they bring out their Treeborn Frog under the Dew Frog, then you can just Torrential Tribute, and I believe it makes the Dew Frog miss timing. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that's the case though. Because once the Treeborn Frog comes out, it's resolved, then you activate the Torrential Tribute as Chain Link 1. Maybe you can activate something like Compulsory Evacuation Device as Chain Link 1 and then chain the Torrential, but I'm not sure what Jose Padilla's plan was, playing the Torrential Tribute in the side deck. And then we have the standard extra deck for Frog Heroes. The Junk Warrior is actually interesting. I've seen this be used in action to run over the Catastor because Junk Warrior can actually go over Catastor because he's base 2300 attack. And also having a Swap Frog out there with the Junk Warrior makes him a 3300 attack. Swap Frog with the Treeborn makes him a 3400 attack Junk Warrior. So really good, a little tech there, and I'm glad that he's actually seeing more play in today's format where he wasn't before. But anyways, congratulations to 4th place to Jose Padilla, who actually got 2nd place in Top Cut using Frog Heroes. So congratulations to him for being a good player. You guys might know him from Tengu Plant format, but if you guys don't watch Tengu Plant format, then you guys don't know that he is actually really good in Tengu Plant format as well. So anyways, on to the next one. 3rd place, we have a player by the name of Oscar Gonzalez, another Oscar that top 8 this event. He decided to take his variations of Machina Gadgets with the main deck Cyber Dragon. So I'm glad that he is able to take a deck that's pretty much rogue in Edison format. He was able to play the Solidarity package too to make your Cyber Dragon a 2900 attack base, but also being able to make more. If he has the 2nd Solidarity, he can make Cyber Dragon a 3700 attack monster. So he was going for sort of like a burn strategy because he does have the Magic Cylinder as well as the limiter removal in the main deck as well to be able to steal games. Because Edison format is a high variance format, being able to sack your opponent using the limiter removal is kind of the idea of this deck, and that's why it was able to do well in this tournament because of the variance of limiter removal being at 1 to change the flow of the game. And even if they are behind behind in card advantage. Because this card exists in Machina, it's able to win out games where players didn't open up a defensive trap, such as Mirror Force, Deep Prison, or even Battle Fader. Okay, so he only has the one Machina Fortress, which is a good deck building on his part, because having more than one Machina Fortress means that if you see one of these cards and no Machina Force in your hand, becomes a -1 for the turn. And in a deck where you cannot afford to have -1s, because if you have -1s at all, you're behind, and you don't want to be behind with playing gadgets, because these monsters are kind of small. And so having only one Machina Force with the Fortress is the idea. You want to be able to search this card, not open up with this card, and Gear Frame allows you to search for the Force and then discard it. He is on the Avarice too, so he took some of Alex Kasian's idea, being able to play the Avarice to be able to play the longer game, because Alex only plays 2 of each gadgets in his main deck. So because of that, he's gonna have less gadgets in his deck to search. So the Avarice makes it so that you're basically playing 3 of every gadgets in your deck. However, it might conflict because the Solidarity. So make sure that you activate the Power of Avarice only if you can leave a machine monster in the graveyard. Good defensive traps in here. We have the 2 compulsories, the 3 deep prisons, the 2 bottomless trap hole, and even a Call to Haunted in the side deck or in the main deck as well, to put in extra damage so that the game ends faster. 1 Starlight Road, just because he wants to be able to out the Heavy Storm, as you are trying to push a lot of spell and traps on the field. He is on the main deck Heavy Storm too, which I don't play in the main deck for gadgets, but I can see why he wouldn't want to main deck it in case he goes second. But in the event that you're going first, it's kind of hard to find room for Heavy Storm. You're kind of hoping your opponent Heavy Storms you so that you can Heavy Storm them back. It's kind of the idea with Heavy Storm. And the main deck does shoot, and then the main deck Torrential Tribute. So, yep, pretty solid list, I would say. The only difference is if you can find room for making it 40 cards, I would advise that he do that. But he did make top. What do you got? He got 3rd place, so I can't say much, which is the same standing that I got for the Wildcard Cyclone, except I played a different trap lineup. Then he has the Trap Stun in the side deck. I imagine this is for Deck Devastation Virus, because it really hurts to get deck devied with machines. To counteract the Contact Vision, I believe he plays the Falsodyna in the main deck. However, decking monsters that are different attribute is going to be kind of difficult, especially since he's on the Solidarity package. I imagine he just sides out the Solidarity in games 2 and 3, depending on the matchup, where Falsodyna is a better side deck card and Kaiku is a better side deck card. He's on the 2 Super Polys too, and because he's playing 2 Super Polys, he has very interesting cards in his extra deck, because you can afford to, since you don't have any tuners in your deck. So he has the Cyber Twin Dragon. So if for some reason their opponent has a Cyber Dragon and you have a Cyber Dragon, you can go Super Poly and attack twice with the Cyber Twin for 5,600 damage. In the event he's playing Hero Beats, he can fuse away their 2 monsters for Raptionist Beast or the Absolute Zero, depending on what the situation is. So that's really cool. And he also has the Chimera Tech Over Dragon. I'm not sure if he ever made this card, but in theory it's good because you can attack a lot of times with this monster. And then we have the Synchro Monsters, which I don't know how he's going to make it. He doesn't even play Econ in his deck, so I think it's just a space filler. This is probably the main show, is these guys right here. But that's pretty much it. Then he has the Kaiku in the side deck because he wants to have a good matchup against Value Turbo. And then the Grand Mole as well to be able to hit Absolute Zero and face down monsters such as Snow Manator. No one across out to deal with monsters. The gadget theory is pretty much live. Being able to trade your spell cards on a face down monster is the idea, and then just normal summon gadgets that starts punching face. 1 Iron Wall. I don't know why he side decks the Iron Wall. I imagine it's because of DD Crow for the Machina gadget, or for the Machina Fortress, or Caius, the Shadow Monarch, but I'm not entirely sure why he side decks the Iron Wall in Edison format. 1 Light Imprisoning Mirror for the Fairy matchup, in case the Recruiters just go too hard. You can just stop the Recruiters from activating their effect in the graveyard. 1 Shadow Mirror for the same reason, for Tomatoes, but I think that's also for decks that utilize Malicious as well. So being able to stop Malicious and Plague Spreader Zombie is the idea of Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. So this is not a very standard side deck for Machina gadgets, so congratulations to Oscar for being able to do that. And in second place, we have a deck that plays Instant Fusion. So I'm in error regarding making this deck. He's actually on 2 Instant Fusion, so he's actually on 41 cards in his main deck. So this for this deck profile, he does have 2 Instant Fusion, just so you guys know. Moving forward, we do see a resurgence of zombies in today's format for 2024 Edison. And the reason for that is because people have found that Instant Fusion is a really good main deck option in 2023, in late 2023. So people are now seeing that Instant Fusion is a really good card in zombies because you can abuse the fact that you can Synchro Summon. He does not play the Power Kinetic well, but he does play the E Emergency Call because the Power Well kind of relies on the second monsters to be in the graveyard, so it's a conditional thing, and because of that, the only way you get psychic monsters out from the deck is through emergency teleport. And if you don't have a way to bring out the psychic monsters from the graveyard, if you don't have a way to put psychic monsters in the graveyard, it's really hard to resolve telekinetic power wall. So he is off of that particular build, and he's on the Krebon, the one Krebon and the one psychic commander to be able to do synchro plays with the two instant fusions in his deck. He does play the Magician King, the Nightmare Reaper of the Nightmare, I don't know what this thing is called, and then the Darkfire Dragon. Darkfire Dragon is preferred to be played over the Carbonella Warrior, because the Carbonella Warrior, in theory, is supposed to play around the Quackimaro Drago, but the issue is that the Darkfire Dragon provides a dark target for the Dark-Armed Dragon, and so the people are preferring to play the Darkfire Dragon over the Carbonella Warrior. The Musician King's there for the Arcanite Magician play in the event that you have the E Emergency Call or the E Teleport, or just the hard-drawn Krebons or the hard-drawn Plague Spreader Zombie to be able to make the Arcanite Magician. So Arcanite Magician is really good in Edison format, and then he's also on the Doomkaiser Dragon 2 to be able to play well into the mirror match, as well as any deck that plays Plague Spreader Zombies in the graveyard. Decks like that is like Vayu Turbo even plays Plague Spreader Zombie. So if you're playing the Zombie matchup, the Vayu Turbo matchup, or the Lightsworn matchup, those are cards that this card would actually be useful against. He plays the Breaker in the side deck to be able to hit, I believe, cards that floodgate him. I'm not entirely sure why he plays the Breaker, actually. So maybe he wants to hit Pulling the Rug, because this baits out Pulling the Rug because the spell counter gaining can be Pulling the Rug. So anyways, the two skill drain in the side deck, that's kind of interesting. I didn't think that zombies could play without their effects, as their monsters, the biggest monster they have is Dark-Armed Dragon, Gores, and Caius. So those monsters don't, they kind of want their effects to resolve, kind of. So it's kind of weird that he would side deck the Cyber Dragon. The skill drains. That's kind of weird that he would side skill drain for zombies, but he was able to get second in Swiss, so I can't complain. Then we have the 7 Tools of the Bandit, maybe to hit the deck devastation virus, as well as Pulling the Rug. And then we have the 2 Pulling the Rug. I imagine in 2024 people are going to take this out of their side deck, but I'm not entirely sure. This is just a prediction. And then we have the 2 Dust Tornado to be able to hit people's back row, because zombies don't have a natural way to hit back rows except for Wing Blast, MST, and Heavy Storm. 1 Deep Prison to complement the 3 Deep Prisons, depending on what they're siding against the deck. I imagine if people are siding Vanity's Fiend for zombies, which I don't advise to do because they play a lot of traps, this hits the Vanity's Fiend as well as the Fossil Dyna as well. 1 Vanity's Fiend in the side deck. Not surely why. Maybe to hit cards to stop the Battle Fader, Dragon Gores, but Fossil Dyna kind of does the same thing without having to tribute summon. But maybe he just likes the 2400 base, so he doesn't have to draw protection to protect the Vanity's Fiend from being attacked. Whereas Fossil Dyna has to have protection from level 4 monsters in order to protect the Floodgate effect. The 2 DD Crows, DD Crows now starting to see more play now just because of Frogs, but also because of Vayu Turbo as well. So having these in the side deck is very useful. And then the 1 Cyber Dragon without contact fusioning. So it looks like he's using Cyber Dragon as a level 5 monster to be able to make level 7 synchros or level 8 synchros depending on the situation. So yeah, not much to say. That's the extent of this particular build. It doesn't play Deep Sea Diva, so I guess he likes the Krebon engine a little better than the Deep Sea Diva engine. And in first place in Swiss, we have a very talented player. His name is Izzy Barrera. You guys may have known him before in Tengu Plant format as well as Edison format. At Rare and Sleeveless Collectibles, he decided to take his Vayu Turbo list, but to make sure that he's not a one-trick pony, he decided to play Hero Frogs, and he was able to win first place at this particular event, taking his Frog Hero deck, and he was able to win his Foolish Burial because he got third place after in Top Cut. He was on 2 Battle Faders. This is different from Mr. 10FD's list, where he does not play a single Battle Fader in his deck list. Izzy's also on 41 cards as opposed to 40 cards. Not sure why he wants to play 41 cards, but I think 40 is solid, more solid because you're playing the frog package. But he also doesn't play, the idea behind frogs is to be able to thin out your deck with Substitute, and then to be able to draw all your power cards afterwards. So that's kind of the idea of frogs in today's format, and that's why he is on 41 maybe, because he can justify this since the treeborn frog. I mean the frogs are being thinned out of the deck. You're only going to draw into power cards afterwards. Is kind of the idea, and that is why he is on 41. Breaker the Magical Warrior has been seeing a lot more play in people's side deck. I'm not entirely sure why, especially with Frog Heroes. You can hit the pulling the rug, but then you're wasting a normal summon. I don't see that being a way to counteract pulling the rug, but maybe there's a reason why Breaker the Magical Warrior is seeing more play outside of pulling the rug. I just can't see why. Then we have the Vanity's Fiend in the side deck. Vanity's Fiend has been seeing more play in the mirror match just because you want to be able to stop all their special summoning that happens on their turn, as well as their opponent's turn. Then we have the two Snowmander for Hero Beat. Hero Beat, I don't see that being a big threat for frogs nowadays, just because you have the Dupe Frog lock to be able to stop them from attacking you. I guess they do need to hard draw their Gemini Spark and their Hero Blast. So the Hero Blast and the Gemini Spark is able to out the Dupe Frog lock. So I guess he needs more defense against that particular option. And then we have the one Econ in the side deck. Not sure why he side decks Econ. Econ is actually seeing a lot less play in Frog Heroes because you want to have, I don't know why, but it's a really good card, especially in the mirror match. If they have a soft Dupe lock, you can put the Dupe lock in attack mode, the Dupe Frog in attack mode, and then you can go after it because it'll take damage. But I'm not really sure why he side decks it. Maybe there's a reason. I'm not sure. One Lightning Vortex for the mirror match, I'm assuming, to hit the Dupe Frog lock. Soul Exchange for the same reason. And then we have the Super Poly for the same reason. So it looks like Frog Heroes just dedicated sideboard plan against that particular matchup. So Izzy's prepared for the matchup. And then we have the two Dust Tornado. I think Dust Tornado is really good nowadays for Frog Heroes just because you can hit people's Raigeki Break as well as the Torrential Tribute and Mirror Force and etc. He also side decks the Mirror Force and the Torrential. So the Mirror Force is able to hit Unifrog, and then once you hit the Unifrog with the Mirror Force, then you don't have to worry about it doing annoying damage against you. Okay, so that's the side deck planning for Izzy. He's on the Super Raptionist Beast in his extra deck, and he does have the Super Poly as well, just so you can Super Poly away two Gemini monsters for the Gemini matchup. But Gemini has not been seeing much play lately. I don't know why, but I think it's an okay deck, but it's not enough to win an event. I've never seen Hero Beat actually win events IRL. Me being the IRL guy, I don't see Hero Beat actually winning events as much as it used to back in the day in early 2023. But maybe in 2024, it'll see a resurgence once they are able to adapt to the meta. And then we have the Junk Warrior as well as in the extra deck, which is very, very common for this particular deck build. But yeah, that's the deck profile video for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile video for the top 8 for Magic and Monsters 1K tournament. So I'll see you guys on the next event once they are happening. I'm going to be at the 3v3 in Vegas. That's going to be the next big event, I believe, that I'll be covering for Edison format. So I'll see you guys soon, and peace out.